What's up, guys? Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1.
and we're back at it to answer your questions in another episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, just comment down below. Put a question in front of your question, and we'll try our best to answer that question. That is what All Might did, and he asked, can demons possess Necrons? Good question. And as of right now, there is no known story or no known Necron possessed by Chaos. That doesn't mean that it's out of the question, because if you look to the past in the dark age of technology, there was AI, and AI was corrupted by Chaos. So if this, well, it's not a sentient being, right? AI?
It's artificial intelligence. It's artificially sentient.
Okay, so if an artificial intelligence can be corrupted, then the Necrons can be corrupted. They would be corrupting the Necron Lord, not the Necron Warriors, though. You have to make that very distinctive.
Right, because the Lords actually have personality to them. They have something that differentiates them from the mindless drones that is the Necron Warriors.
Right, so because a warrior just has a command protocol.
Right.
So if they get corrupted by some demon or whatever, the protocol will just override that and kick them out.
Mm-hmm. It's like beep boop, blood for the blood god, beep beep.
Yeah, and at the same time, I guess Chaos can corrupt our just items too.
Right.
Farsight sword. So I guess maybe they can corrupt the Necron.
That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. Write some fanfic.
One thing to touch base off, what are those called? The flayed ones. They actually have a virus that makes them more bloodthirsty.
Oh.
Like that's why they cut the skin off and not just kill their prey. So
maybe.
Maybe.
Next question. I have one from Tom Whitlow. He says, inquiry for the Inquisition of One Mind Syndicate. I like that. Which Xenos race would you say has the best counter for Space Marines? You guys are who introduced me to Warhammer 40k overall. Thank you. You're welcome. And in a couple years, you're not going to be thanking us, because you're going to have a room full of boxes and boxes of sprues with stuff that you still need to paint. Hopefully.
Hopefully. And hopefully this stuff actually gets built, because it sucks when you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, like eight boxes up there of
orcs.
Yeah.
But yes, so to answer your question, which Xenos race would be the best counter for Space Marines? It's actually the opposite. So the Space Marines were invented to counter the orcs. So then the Tyranids came around and they were like, whoa. So I guess the best counter for the Space Marines is Tyranids. Not intentionally. It just happened during the High Fleet. What was the first one? Behemoth?
Kraken?
No, Kraken was the second one.
Oh.
I think it was Behemoth. That's the first one that went to Macragge. The Codex Astartes was written to combat Xenos like the orcs, like the Eldar. So it was very in a box, basically. So it's like, enemies do this. Enemies always are going to do this.
Right.
And the Tyranids came around and they were like, fuck your box.
Yeah.
We do what we want to do to defeat you, and that's what they did. So then the Ultramarines had to just completely rework the Codex Astartes, which is like, whoa, because like the Ultramarines are the Codex Astartes compliant chapter.
Yeah.
In order to defeat the Tyranids, and since then, the Codex Astartes has had to, be like thrown out for a little bit while they fight threats like the Tyranids.
Right. They even went against making of a whole not chapter, but like a group of Tyranid specific warriors to combat them. So.
Yep. Thanks for the question. Next one.
Drenoth. Can the Grey Knights kill themselves to combine their souls to make a new emperor? No.
Why would they? Their whole mission is to defend the Imperium, not to sacrifice themselves to bring back the Emperor.
Right.
Next question comes from Hayden Wolf. Will the Tau AI turn to Chaos like the Men of Iron did?
Probably not. I don't see that happening anytime soon. I don't see how the storyline will benefit for either Chaos or the Tau by this having happened to them. And yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, and Tau have very little connection with
The
Chaos.
War, yeah.
Next question comes from Benjamin Kessler. Do any faction in 40k have access to any of those weird psychic things, such as dark matter, dark energy, exotic matter, or antimatter? Because we know of ways to use dark matter and exotic matter as FTL systems, and antimatter as simple and highly effective methods of exterminatus. So you're talking about like warp drives and warp holes, stuff like that.
I don't think. I mean, you got the null zone, which is essentially them creating a freaking black hole, chaos version of that. But yeah, I don't really.
Yeah, so the story goes is that the Imperium during the Dark Age of Technology found an alien race that used technology like the one that you're talking about. It wasn't powered by antimatter, and it wasn't powered by the warp. It was something outside of the warp, but it was lost to them. And what they did was, much like the webway where you have like different portals, they had different I forget what they're called. They're like these devices that act as portals, or like warp gates, where you would, or wormholes, where you would walk into one and then step out in another part of the galaxy, and these were scattered throughout the galaxy. And they might have been used by the old ones, who knows, before they used the webway. But that was found, and Lorgar was like, this is heretical, and he killed the individuals who discovered it, because he knew that if the Imperium harnessed this power of warp holes, then they don't need to warp. And, you know, he was chaos corrupted by them. I wish I could remember the name of the story.
Device. Oh,
yeah.
the story.
Or the device or the story, yeah. I'll look it up at some point. Next question.
This one is by the homie Steel Grade. What would you bring to 40k? Love.
Peace. Prosperity.
Pilgrims.
Next question comes from Franklin Clinton. What would the Emperor's rap name be? Emps. Young Thug Homie Quan.
That's a good one. Nicki Minaj.
I think it's pretty clear that Nicki Minaj is the Emperor at this point, because you know the Emperor is walking amongst us in the 21st century, but he's tired of being in the shadows. He wanted to shake that ass, which is why he is Nicki Minaj.
Mm-hmm.
Next question.
Dragon Punch 903. How does one become a Sister of Battle, since obviously they don't have to go through the Space Marine gene seed process?
I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but if I were to say, it'd probably have to do something with being very devout to the church, and going into like a sect of demon killing or ward chanting, something along those lines.
Yeah, kind of like the Schola Progenia.
There you go.
But for Sisters of Battle. Check out our 40 facts on the Sisters of Battle, and you could learn more on them. This question comes from Boon Siu Lim. Hey, just wanted to ask on what if the Imperium Secundus really did become the new Imperium after the Horus Heresy? How would it change the history of the 40k universe? Imperium Secundus, I can't remember what that is.
What was the question again?
He says, what if Imperium Secundus really did become the new Imperium after the Horus Heresy?
Oh, the Imperium Secundus is when, I believe it was Guilliman, Dorn, and Sanguinius kind of made their own mini Imperium, because they didn't know who else could be traitors. So they were like, we know we legit, let's create our own basically mini Imperium and F everybody else. But as we all know, that didn't come to pass. So if that did happen, it would just further fracture the Imperium. They wouldn't be anywhere near the powerhouses that they are today, even though they're not as strong as in 30K. But yeah, that would definitely shake things up a lot.
Yep. This question is for you, Sound Alchemist.
Nah.
D17 IEL. First, I'm sorry for my English is not my first language. It's not my first language either.
It's not mine either.
I think I read something about Aun Shi, the Eternal, that's called the hero of the Firecast. He is searching to find the Farsight conclave to join Commander Farsight and get rid of all the non-Tau Xenos in the Tau Empire, because they cannot be controlled by the Ethereals, and so are a threat to the greater good.
I haven't heard this theory or this info yet. If Anshi wants to do all this, I feel like that kind of goes against his whole who he is, because back in the lore of 7th edition, Anshi was a pretty old dude. He was about to retire, but then the Ethereals were like, yo, you're really good at fighting orcs, and we're in the middle of a war with orcs, so get out of retirement to come help us. And he's also very stoic. He wouldn't be the guy to go out there and find a fight. He tries to avoid fighting. Actually, his blade work, his martial arts, is all about using his opponent's strength against them. So yeah, I don't see him actually trying to go out and pursue these non-mind controlled races in the Empire. If anything, the dude just wants to retire. But he is buddy with Farsight. That's one of the only Ethereals that Farsight's okay with.
There you go. DFG asks, you guys talk about the tree folks from fantasy. There were the planet Tanith in 40K, which had wandering forest. Could this forest happen to be the remnants of something like the Sylvaneth, which were the tree folk? Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, that's another little theory of saying that Age of Sigmar and 40K are one and the same.
Yes. Next question.
This one is by... that's not a good question. Harry's Boylan. Do you think the Emperor liked Hitler for trying to wipe out a religion and unite the world under one empire? Was the Emperor Hitler?
No. So Hitler's whole main thing, though, was a proud Germany, like a strong Germany, and he wanted to spread Germany.
Germany was the superior race in his eyes.
Yeah, whereas the Imperium, he wanted to spread the Imperium of
mankind. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like something completely different. It's like,
I mean, I guess I could see where you're coming from. Like, there's only one thing superior: mankind, Xenos, or everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're like going really. You're like trying to pinpoint, like, oh, only this type of man is superior. So
yeah, one's nationalism, the other one is
humanity.
Imperialism.
Imperialism, yeah.
No, imperialism is more like what all the other. Well, okay, but
yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah. It's something different. It's like humanism or something.
Right, something like that.
Next question. I have one from Jabba the Hutt.
Cool.
Theoretically, could a Primarch, son of the God Emperor, successor to the Imperial realm, and the beacon of hope to all humanity, become morbidly obese? Slanesh aside here, a loyalist Primarch could become obese. We're talking Jabba the Hutt status here, 9 foot tall, a good 1,000 pounds plus. God knows I'd fall to Slanesh if I were to step into 40K. Indulgence. Yeah, not necessarily a Slanesh either. You could do a Nurgle.
Nurgle, yeah.
Is it Magnet? No, is it Mortarion who has like the huge beer belly?
I think so. Or it might be one of his generals that has like a bunch of maggots and stuff.
Yeah. So yes, it's possible. But more than likely, Mortarion would be the best candidate for that, and the model that we see does not have.
He's got wings.
He has wings, yeah.
Yeah, he can't fly if he's got a beer belly.
Even though it would make sense though, because like his beer belly would be full of gas, just like bees.
That's true. Save the bees, guys.
And those were the questions for this week. Thank you for sending them our way. If you have more questions for us to answer, simply comment down below.
That's right. We do this 3 times a week, so if we didn't answer them today, stay tuned. There's more questions being answered.
Yes. With that said,
that's all we got.
Gershwin,
Sound Alchemist, One Mind Syndicate, out of here.